have an opportunity of interviewing a dear, dear friend of mine. I met him for the first time when he came to this Crystal Cathedral a year ago. Since then, we have traveled around the world together. And when I interviewed him here, I discovered a tremendous need that the world has for wheelchairs. It is of epidemic proportions. And today there is somebody who's doing something about it. His name is Ken Behring. He is an entrepreneur, a very successful man, getting his start in the automobile business in Wisconsin, and has since parlayed his wealth and at one time owned the Seattle Seahawks. Today he has sold the Seahawks, and instead of playing with footballs, he's playing with wheelchairs. And today he is giving them away by the thousands. And I had the privilege of going with him to Africa and seeing his heart and seeing his spirit of he and his beautiful wife, Pat, as they would lift people and put them in a chair, and their lives would be renewed. Would you please welcome to the Crystal Cathedral, Ken Behring.
Thank you.
Ken, God loves you. And so do we. You've been giving wheelchairs away, haven't you?
No, we have.
How many have you given away this year?
Well, so far, this year, we're going to give 250,000, or a few more than that, maybe.
Wow. How great is the need for a wheelchair in the world today?
Well, the need is so great that when you give the numbers, people don't even like to hear the numbers, because every wheelchair means something. I mean, if you're disabled and if you're in the Congo or if you're someplace, have never been able to move, one wheelchair makes a difference. I've just been on a round-the-world trip. I started out in China, went to down to Indonesia, then over to India. In India, I met with the Prime Minister. He told me we think that India, as near as we can tell, needs 117 million wheelchairs for people without money that have been discarded. We went on to Turkey, we went on to Italy, Spain, back to Saudi Arabia, who we're making partnerships now. In Saudi Arabia with the royal family, I made a partnership where they're going to help us with all the Middle East countries because they have the connections. This is like with you. You give me a chance to come here and tell our story. I mean, you're a partner, and
absolutely.
God bless you. And this morning, that beautiful voice of Stephanie, she came up to me and she said, I'd like to give the honor that I was given to you for wheelchairs. So every place we go, you just meet people that are that want to help. And there's such a need out there. Because the people that we're seeing, they have no hope. They have no freedom, they have no dignity. In a matter of $75, this changes their life. It lets them go back to school, go back to work, go to church. And I'll do everything I can by myself, but we need people like you and everybody else. Because this, I think, is what religion and Jesus was all about, is helping people that are less fortunate than ourselves.
Last year, when you were here, I gave you a $100 bill for a wheelchair.
Yes.
And it wasn't long after that I get this beautiful picture of this lady sitting in a wheelchair from, I believe it was Armenia, and beaming face in the wheelchair that I gave. It was so touching.
We give a picture to everybody that sends us money for one wheelchair and the country that they're from. And when I go to these people, I tell them the only thing that I want in return is a smile. And they'll grab my hands, they'll smile, but they're crying. They look in your eyes. I just wish every person listening to me today would have the chance to pick one of these people up and to see what a difference it is from taking a person that's literally been discarded, that nobody wants to believe they're even alive, and giving them the freedom to move.
Last night I had a birthday party for my oldest daughter. Angie. You remember Angie. She
Oh,
went with us
yes.
to Africa. This $100 bill is for Angie. From Angie. She doesn't know it's from her. It's my birthday gift to her.
Oh, thank you, Angie. Thank you for some person in the world.
And so that's for Angie. Now, next week, see, my daughters are their birthdays are a week apart. So this week, my daughter Christina, you remember Christina?
Yes.
She's getting her birthday gift and giving it to you also.
And these two young ladies were with us when we went to Africa last year, and to watch them pick up one of these people and put them into a wheelchair was just, you can't describe it. And I hope it made a difference in their life. I know their life's been wonderful. But
It completely changed them. My daughter landed up writing her entrance exam paper for college on giving wheelchairs away and how it impacted her life,
What a beautiful
being able to help this woman who had leprosy. Now, where are we going to go this summer to
we're
give wheelchairs away?
I'm going to take you to China, and Indonesia, and maybe Philippines. It happens in China. What we're doing to try to spread the word is we're making partnerships. I'm now a partner in over 30 cities in China. Every time I give a wheelchair, they give a wheelchair. So every time that I can take one there, they will pay for one. And most of the cities are calling it the Behring Spirit. And
the Behring Spirit, I like that.
But it's a way we have to all work throughout the world. If every person would help somebody, it doesn't have to be with a lot of money, but this is something, maybe we wouldn't have quite as much shooting and wars, and, because this giving is something you can't describe until you give. And when you give, it gets in your heart. It's better than winning a football game.
You know, some people may be... Yeah.
I have to say one other thing. Because of you and your inspiration on this trip, we were giving wheelchairs away, and you said, oh, you know, these are great wheelchairs, but they really are not very comfortable. They're, you know, these wheelchairs are the same they've been since beginning of time. They're to move people in the hospital, and these people have to live in it. So that inspiration, I decided to go out and make a wheelchair and find one that would really be comfortable for people. So I think we'll have to call it the Schuler chair.
Is this the Schuler chair?
This is the regular chair.
Yes, those are the ones we put together.
If you look at this, and the seat folds comes right off, and you fold it and you can carry it. But it's as comfortable.
I think we'll have to get some new... We'll trade in our pulpit chairs for these.
Well, my problem is everybody we've been given one of these now is going to want a new one, but then we can give the old one to somebody else.
That's one of the beautiful things about giving a wheelchair, isn't it?
They'll use them until there's no wheels, there's nothing on.
Until there's no parts left.
But we hope that we can keep improving so that when people are disabled, they can have a better life and that they can be more comfortable.
That's the whole idea, isn't it? Well, Ken, we want to thank you from the bottom of our heart for what you're doing.
Thank you.
For giving mobility and dignity to people.
Well, thank you.
And you're doing it 1,000 times over.
I get more of it than I put into it. And everybody else, this is, you know, whatever you do to help your fellow man, somehow it comes back tenfold.
Ken, God loves you.
Thank you.
So do we.
Okay. Thank you.